take it.
You and Foley drowned in your sorrows.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll call the meeting of the Madison City Commission to order for the meeting of September 10th, 2012. Jeff, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Delzer, Commissioner Erickson,
Here.
Commissioner Waldner,
Here.
Commissioner Abraham,
Here.
Mayor Hexum.
Here. Yeah, the minutes of the September 4th meeting is a part of your record. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes of the last meeting?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes of September 4th.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes of the September 4th meeting as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. You have the agenda for this meeting before you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the agenda as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Under appearances, acknowledgments, and correspondence, we have several items. Number one, acknowledge malt beverage license application from Trojan Tap and set the date of hearing. Jeff, do you have any comment on that application?
See, Mr. Mayor, in our packet, we've got the application for video lottery. Is there anything that needs to be done with that, Jeff?
Is
It
that
would-
separate?
No, it would include, if you approve this, this would include video lottery. So that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
We'd have a hearing at the same time, in other words.
So the hearing would be on the application for
Right.
video lottery and the malt beverage
Yes,
license.
because you can approve a malt beverage license and not approve a video lottery license. That's true.
Okay.
And he is asking for 10 machines.
We do not need to amend the motion then?
No.
Okay. All right.
Because the reason is that you would just decide that night, does this malt beverage application, is it allowed to have video lottery or not?
Okay. All right, if there are no further questions then, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Number two, under appearances, acknowledgements, and correspondence, is to acknowledge the August building permit report. Chad, do you have any comment on the building permit report?
No, I do not.
Any questions for the commissioners?
No. I'll move to acknowledge the August building report.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we acknowledge the August building permit report as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Number three, under appearances, acknowledgements, and correspondence, we have received a correspondence from a number of residents living on East Center regarding the requesting the City of Madison to post no semis allowed signs on the new East Center Street from Washington to Division, and to stop the semi-traffic from coming down into the residential area, and posting a Madison Livestock sign on, I guess that's 3rd Street, rerouting the traffic down Division Avenue where there would only be 2 city blocks where they'd be traveling. Okay, request is for one sign to be posted at Division Avenue and Center, and one to be posted on Washington Avenue. That is the request, and signed by, I don't know how many individuals have signed that. Is there anyone present who has additional information for that, on that request?
I'm the one that started it. Every resident on Center Street signed that. And the only thing that I do request is also a slow traffic sign at the park. There's never been, a sign there. And I live right on the corner and at Center and Jefferson. And traffic comes down Center Street at a pretty good clip. That there's no park posting signs of that area. And I just kind of would
Okay.
request if we can get at least, park or slow traffic or,
Okay, thank you. Is there, I have a number of questions about this myself, and first of all, have we done this? Can we do it? What are the legal requirements for or against as such? And we do have in our ordinances on Southwest First Street regarding truck traffic on Southwest First Street. That's already in our ordinance. That was put there, I believe, about, 2006? 2003, when the street was rebuilt. Yeah. Okay, so that, to my knowledge, I think that's the only place in Madison that has a, and I think the sign simply says no trucks. I looked at it the other day.
I've researched the ordinances and where they stand, and the only street in the city of Madison where truck traffic is prohibited is the east 1,680 feet of Southwest First Street, west of Highland Avenue. That's the only place by ordinance that truck traffic is prohibited in Madison that I can find after looking this afternoon. I do believe, to try to answer one of the mayor's questions, I do believe that the city has the authority and jurisdiction to outlaw truck traffic on this road. It is a purely city road. It is within city limits. We don't share any jurisdiction with the county, to my knowledge, with the state, or with the federal government. Now, there's been some question about, well, if we used federal or state proceeds, can we do that? I believe the answer is yes. We could still, the city could still say no truck traffic. So it would be legal to do so, but you would have to make an ordinance change. You can't just post a sign. You can't tell Fred or you can't tell Chuck to go out with a post hole digger and a sign and put it up and have it be enforceable. You would have to change your ordinances to specifically define and delineate where trucks cannot travel. You would also be well advised to define what a truck is. Is it a dual pickup? Is it gross weight of over 10,000, 24,000? We'd need some input, I think, for Public Works and Engineering on that topic if you were going to do it. But as it stands now, truck traffic's allowed on that road and will remain to be allowed unless you change your ordinance prohibiting it, which I think you can do, legally speaking. I can try to answer any other questions from the legal side of things. If I can, I'll certainly defer to Chad on any technical aspects of the road.
Would the correct, in the event that it would ever come to that, you would almost have to define trucks by axle weight then, wouldn't you?
I think you would.
And the heaviest truck that goes down that street will be the garbage truck.
You know, what's
I mean, a truck
say?
is a truck.
Right, is a truck my little pickup? Is a truck a garbage truck? Is a truck a livestock truck? We'd have to define, in my opinion, we'd have to do a good job of defining truck.
is there a weight limit in town on city streets?
I don't believe so, but I didn't research that specific issue.
Just your state set axle, I would believe.
I would think it's state only, but I don't know that for a fact.
Just that we hate to see it be tore up again, and now that semis have gotten used to the route that they've been going, the signs being posted on Third Street, and there's 2 city blocks instead of 5. But, down the residential area, we kind of would like to see it stop. And just see it, and there should be signs posted on the highway pointing the traffic down to the livestock farm.
I'm Chip Boshy from Madison Livestock, and I think we bring a lot of revenue into this town. And we try to route a lot of them trucks coming in certain directions to come in on Division. But it's pretty inconvenient for a lot of them to come and not being able to use Center Street, And we try to be good neighbors. I mean, my tractor's too heavy to bring my shit spreader down for your leaves.
I knew that was coming. Anyway.
So anyway, but, Yeah, we try to direct them out that way as much as we can, but I tell you what, we can't come in from the south. I don't know if you folks have been on that road, but if you go to the east end of Center Street and head south on that gravel, it's just a terrible washboard. I mean, you can't. And if you turn to go down around, you know, around and take that gravel, it's impossible. I mean, the truckers just won't do it. They shake you to pieces. Sometimes you need to drive on that road just for, not only that, I think it's safer for them semis turning. Now, when you did this, you did a hell of a nice job building that street. You rounded them corners. And I thought, by God, that's gonna be handy for my semis when they do come in, rather than have them squared up. They're safer to turn on Center Street there than they are to go down to Old 34 where the lights are. Them semis gotta make wide turns. And if they're gonna make a right turn going towards my sale barn, or if they're coming the other way, they gotta wait for all that left-hand traffic to clear out before they can make their corners. And it congests up 34 and Washington a lot more than them trucks coming. They can make them right-hand turns, they don't have to stop, they're out of the way of the traffic. I think it's a lot safer and a lot less congestion for the city.
But what if they come in on the Dan and Jerry Road and come around?
And that's convenient for some, but if we're coming from down in here, Lisa, it's pretty inconvenient. They gotta go to Washington or Old 34,
Yeah.
you know. And then you watch, sit on the corner once, watch them semis, gotta make that turn. But if they're coming down here from the south on Washington, they don't even have to stop. They just make that turn right around. They rounded them corners out real nice. Otherwise, they'd have to stop, and wait for that traffic to clear out before they can turn in there. But now with them rounded corners, they can just make that turn and just keep on going without stopping.
But the only thing is, it's still a residential area, park area, and
So
that's the
Lisa,
only
when
thing.
you moved there, did you know there was a sale barn?
Exactly, and we've been talking about it since I was a child. I grew up in that neighborhood. So, this is the opportunity to maybe get it finally.
But I say, I drove down that street, it was open, so Sunday I could drive down there. There's 15, in them 5 blocks, there's 15 houses, 3 rentals, and a condo on them 5 blocks,
Mhm.
you know. So, but I think everybody in residential puts up with a little inconvenience. But this ain't like a 7-day-a-week deal, you know, but ain't them trucks are used every day. Yeah, they are on Mondays,
Yeah,
sometimes Sunday afternoon,
but it,
and tonight,
but it has tore up that street. We've
Well,
we've
what
waited
street has
years.
been tore up though?
Not like Center Street.
Well, I mean, okay, if, just like a playground, if you ain't got the grass, well, you won't kill the grass if you don't play there. You know?
Well, excuse me, folks, we're not here to solve the problem tonight. We're not gonna vote on it tonight.
Yeah,
As Attorney Jenks says, we'll have to have a change in ordinance if we decide to move in that direction. That will have to come at a future meeting. We aren't gonna settle the arguments tonight, but I think you make a very good point. It depends upon, for the truckers, which direction you're coming in. If you're coming in from the west, if you're coming in from the north, you're gonna stay on 34, straight shot over to Division. The gravel street from Division South, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, that's a township road and a city street.
It's partially, it's dedicated, it's on the city-county border.
Right.
And it's actually only half of the.
The township.
Well, it's
Is it-
half of it's dedicated to the public use and within city limits. The other half hasn't been dedicated actually yet, so it's really only a
Okay.
half of right-of-way.
So, you know, that will remain a gravel road until we get a request from residents to improve that road.
but it's that way all the way out to.
It is.
New 34, I mean, it's just terrible.
Yeah,
You guys need to drive that once just for, and you'll see why them
Mhm.
trucks don't take it. I mean.
Yep.
but is that dedicated,
I don't take it myself.
but is that dedicated to the county or to the township?
The part that's dedicated is within city limits, so it's
Yeah.
it's dedicated to the public.
Well, that isn't a part of this discussion anyway,
The other
so.
thing, permitted trucks coming out of Minnesota or other states that are operating under a permit instead of a prorate plate, they're routed down Center Street, aren't they?
I don't know that.
I believe that's how DOT routes them.
can't say for sure either. I know there's a general permit they can get, which restricts it until they get to their nearest point of turnoff, which restricts it to the state routes.
Mhm.
But then there's specific permits, and I know, I'm pretty sure the specific permits, they can't route them on, you know, on the non-jurisdictional roads of the DOT. So at some point, they have to turn off, whether they turn off and go on Second Street and curve up to Third and come down, or on Center Street. So I can't say for sure either. We've talked about that with them at one time.
Does the state have anything to do with Center Street?
No,
No.
not as far as I know.
Okay. That was just a few residents kind of brought that up and I didn't know.
No, I don't believe so.
They have something to do with it while there's construction, because, you know, it's on our federal aid routes. And what the funds that we get through the transportation bill go to Pier, and then when that bank account, if you will, gets built up large enough, we can build a project with it through the transportation bill. And so they were involved in the construction only, but after that's
Yeah.
done, it's back and just,
Oh,
my-
must be where
that's
they
why
got
they're
it.
involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's really left for the commission is to hear these concerns, and ultimately, would be someone's responsibility to bring for first reading an ordinance to change per the request. Otherwise, it remains as is.
Your Honor, if I may interject too, it maybe to be helpful with some of the members here from the citizens here, that the mention about tearing up the road. The road was designed to handle some truck traffic, the same amount of truck traffic that was currently using it. And so that data was tabulated and accounted for. And so I submit that it won't be tore up necessarily, those, you know, by
It was
the use of the
designed-
truck.
it was
It was
designed-
designed to handle that, correct.
Do you have an estimate on how many trucks a week? Just a guess? I don't know.
Well, it's fortunate for us right now, when they did this work, it's kind of what we call our slow time. You know, the fall and the winters are our busier times of the year. But like I say, you know, and a lot of these truckers have found out, you know, they'll use division. They never really knew how to get into division to start with. And there'll still be a lot of trucks who'll use that and go out Old 34. But we hate to limit it just to that without these other trucks coming from the south.
Okay.
Just due to, I think there's a safety factor involved turning off Washington as there is to congest that traffic down on Old 34.
Okay.
Is there any action required on this?
No.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to acknowledge their request for the record of the meeting?
If you'd like, it's not mandatory, but you certainly can.
I'd move to just acknowledge their appearance here at the meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made, seconded that we acknowledge the appearance at the meeting of the residents of East Center Street and others regarding the truck traffic situation on New East Center. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much for coming and
I have a question. Will this be looked into and discussed at further meeting?
If it is,
That
it'll be on the
remains-
agenda.
that remains to be seen. If we decide to present a revised ordinance at a future meeting, that decision remains to be made.
And we have a lot of trucks that come from out of town, by the ways. I mean, they could go to Mitchell as well as they come to Madison. And when they're in Madison, they do some business. I don't care if it's F&M, Campbell Supply, all these different places. You talk to the people at Campbell Supply, F&M, John Deere, Pastrellos, they know what day is sale day, just by the traffic they get in. The extra business they're doing, and so if you people would happen to be in England, places, stop and ask them if Madison Livestock is doing the city of Madison any good. We bring a lot of sales tax, a lot of sales tax. People come in town, they go out and buy a new combine, $200,000. There's $8,000 worth of sales tax.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Moving.
Thanks for listening.
moving on. We need to move, we have number 4, under appearances, acknowledgements, and correspondence. Received another letter from FEMA regarding the Rock Creek Wall Project reimbursement. And this came to Chad here a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, we are in line to receive an award of $264,013.60 as state and federal reimbursement for the September 2010 flooding event. And I guess that's the extent of it, Chad. Is the check in the mail?
Jeff, can you cash it yet?
Not quite. I was happy to see the letter even.
I thought we should acknowledge the letter, Chad, as a part of the record of the meeting so that we do have some indication that we've received the correspondence and we're...
We've had a fair amount of, since the project, we've had a fair amount of communication with the folks in the state level and the FEMA level to work through their processes for this, and so the grant reimbursement is all of what I anticipated it to be, so there was nothing carved out. That can always happen. And so it does say with it, we should have a check with them from the state auditor within a few days, but if we haven't received it within 15 days, we're supposed to notify them, and I did just check with Jeff, and we haven't received it yet, but I anticipate, I have no reason to think we won't.
I should clarify, the letter actually is from the South Dakota Department of Public Safety Emergency Management regarding the reimbursement of state and federal funds, not directly from FEMA. So, okay, that's for information. Do you want a motion, Jeff, on that to acknowledge the letter?
Sure.
I'll make a motion that we acknowledge the letter from Department of Public Safety Emergency Management.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made, seconded. We acknowledge the letter from the South Dakota Department of Public Safety Emergency Management regarding the reimbursement for the September 2010 flooding event. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried. We have no items listed under old business. Under new business, we have several items. Number 1 is personnel.
I would make a motion to approve the personnel as presented.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the personnel recommendations as presented. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Number 2, under new business, review recommendations of the Electric Advisory Committee regarding increasing the rebate program limits. Jeff.
Thank you, Mayor. You may recall that beginning at May 1st of 2012, the City Commission approved an energy appliance rebate program whereby residential customers could apply for between a $50 and $100 rebate on any new appliance that has the Energy Star sticker on it. And the commission appropriated $5,000 to be set aside for that residential program. The commission also approved a program which would allow commercial accounts rebates on the installation of more energy efficient lighting within their business. And $15,000 was set aside for that program. And in addition, prior to that time, a year ago, for the 2012 budget, the city adopted within the electric budget $20,000 for energy efficiency programs. In addition to the $20,000 that was set aside, $10,000 was available through Heartland Consumer Power District, our supplemental electric supplier. So there was a total of possible $30,000 available for some sort of programs. And with these two programs that the commission adopted effective May 1, 5,000 residential, 15 for the commercial program that totaled $20,000. So there is $10,000 that the original intent or recommendation of the committee was, how about saving $10,000 of this year's budget and asking that that be set aside in a reserve for next year, not knowing, of course, what the commission might approve for next year. And however, with the success of the program, and in the minutes, it shows that $4,100 of the $5,000 for the residential program has been spent. That is now up to about $4,400 of the $5,000 has been spent, and $12,700 of the $15,000 in the commercial program has been set aside. The commercial program works a little different in that it's a rebate after the project is completed. However, the funds are committed upon an application, a successful application. And then we give them 90 days to complete the project after that. But we will set aside the funds right away if the application is approved by Dennis Poppin. And so with that, the Energy Advisory Committee, or Electric Advisory Committee, is requesting or recommending that the commission basically take all of the remaining $10,000. Actually, they're asking for $9,000 of the 10 because we spent approximately $1,000 on advertising the program at the beginning.
Okay.
So the remaining $9,000 they're asking to be opened up and available for the remainder of this year. And thinking that it's, due to the success of the program, there'd be really, and the fact, I did leave out, the fact that the commission approved $25,000 for next year for some sort of energy efficiency programs. So of the $9,000 that's remaining, they're asking the residential program be increased from $5,000 to $8,000, and the commercial program from $15,000 to $21,000.
That's the 9 out of the 10,000.
Yep. So if you have any questions, as I said, the programs seem to be very successful. There aren't many days that go by that we don't get a rebate request in. And those come into the front office. We have forms that they fill out, instructions, and they have to provide receipts and the Energy Star sticker and fill out the form. And then Karen Matheson, she gives it kind of preliminary approval with paperwork and looks it over and then gives it to me, and then I just sign off on it if everything looks okay. And then we actually credit their electric bill, is how we give them the money back.
So
That's for the residential program.
right.
Commercial program, they actually get a check.
So you would ask us then for a motion or action to approve
Well,
the
I'm asking you to
expenditure
consider,
of the remaining funds that we had budgeted for
yes,
this year?
if you like their recommendation, you would approve the recommendation of the Electric Advisory Committee to increase the residential rebate program from $5,000 to $8,000 and the commercial program from $15,000 to $21,000 for the year 2012.
Okay.
And that was funding that was already earmarked for
Yep, it's already in the
similar
budget.
purpose.
Yep, it's in the budget.
I see no reason why not to do it. I mean, it's a
Right.
great program. We've already spent or been able to rebate back $4,400 already. That's money right back into people's pockets, and the money's there for this, so do I make a full motion for it, or?
Yeah, you'd make a motion just to, if you like the idea, just to
Motion to
approve the recommendation
of the committee.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we approve the committee recommendation to increase the amount available for the residential rebate from 5,000 to 8,000, and then also increase the commercial lighting rebate program from 15,000 to 21,000. And using it from those same funds.
And also, do you want to add that, I think the committee, the last sentence or two, Jeff, talks about being must be applied for and completed by,
Yeah,
By December 31st, 2012.
right.
I think they spent quite a bit of time
Yeah,
discussing that
that's a
issue.
very good point, Commissioner. They did talk about that. It's like, when is the actual deadline? I mean, can they come in December, 30th, just blanketly with not really any project, and hope, the commercial program that is, and hope that they get pre-approval, and then we have to sit on the funds? They would, in that sense, if the money's already been committed prior to that, it needs to be spent by that time.
Yep.
There will be, more than likely, if the commission approves, there'll more than likely be funds available next year.
Next year, they could do it then as
Right,
well.
exactly.
Sure.
As part of your motion then?
Yes.
too, Okay? Is there a second to the motion?
Second?
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the recommendation of the Electric Advisory Committee to increase the available funds for the residential rebate program from $5,000 to $8,000, increase the commercial lighting rebate program from $15,000 to $21,000, and approve the policy stating that projects that qualify for the rebate programs must be applied for, completed, and spent by December 31st, 2012. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just one more comment. If you did read the minutes, you may have noted, you may be seeing other recommendations coming forth for the load management credits also in the next few
Okay.
months.
New business number 3, review application for additional lottery machines from the VFW. This is signed by Zach Anderson, and this application is for additional lottery machines. That'd be 2 additional lottery machines, correct? Okay. They have paid the fee, $50 each for each machine, total of $100. And the application is appropriate, Jeff?
Yes.
David? Mhm, okay.
It is.
Okay.
The VFW currently has 3 video lottery machines.
Correct.
You must be Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Okay. And they're asking for permission to have 2 more machines. And they are currently licensed with the city. They have an alcohol license, and then they have a license, video lottery license issued through the state of South Dakota. I do, just when you do, I wasn't in the office when you were in. You do understand that this would only be for the remainder of this year. And you would need to reapply and pay another $50 for 2013. Right, when you renew your alcohol license in December. Okay.
And that they have to take it on to the state after this.
Actually, no,
For the
they already
video
have a
lottery?
video lottery license.
Oh.
I'm a little unclear what happens after this point on video lottery. But I believe since they already have a video lottery license, the state really doesn't care if they have 1 machine or 10 machines.
They meet the
But we
criteria.
do
if they-
because,
right,
pardon
They
me?
meet their criteria.
Exactly, but we do because we get $50 a machine.
Yep.
I'll put a couple more.
Can you put in some more?
All right.
I'll move, Mr. Mayor, I'll move to allow the VFW application for additional video lottery machines.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve the application from the Madison VFW for 2 additional lottery machines. Any questions or speaking?
And just for further information, Mayor, I'd have to check the statute. Let's just say they didn't have any machines and didn't have a video lottery license. Then there may need to be a special hearing for that. I'm not sure, I'd have to check the law. But they already have a license.
Yep.
So they're just asking for more machines.
And that's not the case here.
Right, that's
yeah,
not, so
okay.
there's no hearing needed.
I think the hearing has to be to determine the criteria is where the location is adequate
Exactly.
and is it violating?
Yeah.
This is actually an administrative request.
Right.
If there's no other comment, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for your patience. This completes the regular order of business for the meeting. We have an executive session scheduled under SDCL 1-25-2, paren 4. Could we have a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to go into executive session, about 6:09.